Okay, we'll call the order at 6:03. Public comment period for items not on the agenda. You
Just
good?
want to welcome the 2 new members. Do a good job. Listen to these guys, they know what's going on.
Thank you. All right, additional items to the agenda. We did have a late breaking item to add, which was the clean water projects email that we got right before the meeting. So I said we could maybe add it on under additional items. So we'll add that on under new business, I guess. And then we want to have any other additional items that were late breaking.
Did we talk about or is the Bristol Pond Dam conversation on the agenda?
No, that's not on here. This is
We
why I
can
send out
touch
a
on that really
draft
briefly.
ahead of time.
I will eventually get better at reading emails.
No, you won't. No, it's not gonna happen. That's fine. Where will we put that? Could that be a parks update? Is that a park?
No,
No.
but it
Is
would
that
be
a-
totally irrelevant about
Does
it,
that be,
so.
would that be relevant to the clean water projects that we have that email about?
It's also adjacent, but not.
All right,
It's a distinct
Okay,
conversation.
so we would like to also add, what is it now?
Can we do new business?
Bristol Pond Dam.
Bristol Pond Dam under new business.
Also, quite a lot of correspondence related to that. I've been bombarded.
Okay, cool. So I try to send out the agenda almost a week or 5 days ahead, so I have a draft, so if people want to add things onto it, they can, so that the public can be warned about topics. So we don't want to vote on anything that wasn't, we don't want to vote on anything that wasn't warned, but we can talk about it if we add it on the agenda, since we have a standing item to add items to the agenda. So let's review and approve minutes, if that's all the new business. Okay, well, review and approve minutes of April 10th, 2025. Does anyone want to make a motion about that?
I'll motion.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor, for approving the,
Oh, to approve the minute.
great. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll move to approve those minutes, or we have approved that. Correspondence, was that personal correspondence to you? That wasn't to the commission,
Yes,
right?
but very much relevant to the commission. Something to bring to the commission.
Okay, that sounds fine, and we'll just leave that how that is, I think, in terms of business order, and then we'll go to new business. I wish Kristen was here to talk about the water project, but unfortunately, why don't we start with Bristol Pond Dam then, to see if she has time to get on. How's that
Cool.
sound? Great.
So are you guys aware of the basic situation around that?
Yeah.
So
Just
for
a
those of you that-
refresher, yeah.
The very, like, big picture view is that the state is required, in response to some legislation passed in 2018, to bring all of its 200 state-owned dams up to a certain level of compliance with not new in 2018, but relatively new, like flood resiliency standards. The catch with this being that all obviously very, very well intentioned and important. The catch being that there's a whole lot of dams that the state owns that it has not dealt with in a long, long time, and many of which are now buried under beaver dams. Bristol Pond being one of those. And they're in a little bit of a bind, frankly, in that there's funding, there's a real funding deficit when it comes to like actually bringing all of those dams up to compliance while maintaining current water levels and so on. So a lot of those dams are going to be removed. That being sort of the cheapest option. I should say before getting into the rest of this, that's also, I think there's a real merit to removing many of these dams. Nature will take its course and.
Do you mean the beaver dams or the
state-owned dam
It's
underneath?
a concrete, it's a
That's
Yeah,
what
so
you-
like what?
that's what
concrete
you wanna
structure.
Right, so this is kind of wild.
concrete.
I have walked over that dam hundreds of times. I've got a place that I went like around the north end of Bristol Pond and across the dam. I had any idea there was a man-made dam underneath it. That beaver dam is like, it's like the pearl inside or clam of beaver dam. But basically, they're in this sort of spot where they have enough money to deal with some very, very high priority dams, bringing them up to code with while maintaining water levels. But a lot of these dams are not going to be. They're going to be removed, and their hands are pretty tight on this. Something's got to happen. So a lot of people obviously are concerned about this. Bristol Pond's a very, very popular, recreational area. It's also, while being, somewhat, unnatural in the strictest sense, it's created a lot of habitat for waterfowl and so on. It's a wildly important waterfowl production area and nesting wise. So there's a lot of merit in my mind to maintaining that water level. Which puts us in this situation where the question is like, can the town, can the Conservation Commission, can various nonprofits, I think, I shouldn't get too far into this if we haven't like totally got commitments, but there's a couple nonprofits that are interested in chipping in. So
I'm sorry, what, chipping in for
chipping
what?
in
So
for
wait, they would- so the
for funding
state-
a dam that would be brought up to code while maintaining the water level.
Okay, otherwise, the alternative
They're
is the
gonna blow the
state
dam.
just rips out the concrete and then the
And we
chips
see
fall
what
where they
happens.
may, okay.
The catch with that is that, so I kind of tend to believe that the beavers are gonna plug that hole back up before the dust settles and this, and we're gonna be where we started pretty much. They're in a little bit of a weird spot where the whole point of this is flood resiliency and bringing the dam to code, right? So like to replace this dam with a beaver dam, which was also not built to code, does not really accomplish what they're trying to get done here. So there's a certain element, which I think has got a lot of folks also agitated about of beaver control during this process.
Can I just pause right a sec? Just so you know, if you're joining us, we had 2 items of new business we've added to the agenda, the Bristol Pond Dam and also the clean water projects. So we're right now speaking about the Bristol Pond Dam and Alex is telling us about that, just so you know. Okay, sorry.
So
continue.
to accomplish that, there will also be like a state-run trapping regimen in place, trying to keep beavers from rebuilding this dam for some, as of yet, undetermined amount of time. So there's a lot of things to be ironed out here, but long and short of it is, I think that, in my personal opinion, balancing the various, recreational importance of the dam and other factors at play here, it'd be really great if the community / various interested parties could assist the state in replacing that dam with one that is up to code. What that would cost is obviously like the big question. I've been in contact with Fish and Wildlife over this, and the most relevant person has been on vacation for the last week, so we don't have like a real concrete answer to that. But basically, early returns are that the DEC has no interest whatsoever in the mess that removing all these dams is going to create, and socially, like this is not a great deal for them. They've been put in kind of a tricky spot. And I think they were very excited about the prospect of funding from additional sources coming in to help with these sort of things. And I've gotten several emails from people in town concerned about this, and because I testified on this issue to the House a couple weeks ago, so kind of like got tangled up in it early. I think the gist of it is a lot of support locally for, some sort of fundraising campaign. I do think, again, there are a couple nonprofits that would be, this is sort of within their scope and would be interested. My question, I guess, to the rest of the commission is this something the commission is interested in engaging in? Would this be an appropriate use, for instance, of conservation reserve funds? Should we get to that? Is this something we're in agreement on? Like I said, there is a real argument for letting these places return to nature. And that's sort of like my default stance on a lot of this stuff. I think Bristol Pond in particular, its recreational value to the people of Bristol is such that I would be in favor of replacing that dam. But I think there's a lot of dams around the state that I'd rather see go. And become a wetland that can then absorb, flood overflow and do all the various other things that wetlands do for the ecosystem. So it's not like a clear black and white thing. And I don't expect everybody to just, agree on face value that we should replace the dam, but it's a thing we ought to talk about and think about.
Do we have somebody, or is it possible to do, or has that been done, like an environmental impact assessment of what the different options would be?
So the state has done environmental impact assessments for most of so they tier all these dams out in priority, and list of priority. Bristol Pond's dam is at the lowest level of priority. So my assumption is that we do not have yes for that dam. A lot of the other ones do, because I think then that it's a little funky because that prioritization is related purely to the damage that a breach of said dam would cause, not ecological value of the wetland / the pond. So no, I think I shouldn't say this, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly confident that EDC does not have that. You're talking about of the project, but removing the dam versus leaving it in. Yeah, you're not exactly.
So if we have a local expert or somebody who'd be interested in providing that.
I mean, Kristen might know the
Kristen
person or be the person.
Be the person.
Well, I think as I'm just listening, I think there is a need for that kind of a study and for us to better understand the various alternatives. I wonder about things like, would changing water levels in the pond, how would that affect the ecosystem of the pond and all the rare and endangered species that are present there? And then there's the recreational values of that area as well. There's historical values. There's the fact that the dam itself, I think, is it in town of Moncton?
Yeah, technically
Yeah.
by about 8 feet.
Yeah, by about 8 feet.
Literally.
So Bristol benefits from the maintenance of water levels, but doesn't actually own the property on which the dam is. So there would need to be correspondence with Moncton on that as well. So it's not there, as you say, Alex, there's not a lot of simple answers. There's no black and white here.
No, and I think unfortunately there is a time constraint. That's the.
I was about to ask what's
this
the
is-
timeline.
That's where this is all a little tricky, is that it is not simple. There's a lot of players involved and they kind of gotta go.
Do you know what the timeline is though? Like this
That is not
summer,
gonna be
next
very
summer, 5
clear.
years?
I think again, this is all gonna happen in list of priority. And we're so low down the list that they've got a lot of the dams to deal with first, but basically the ball is a rolling. Why, I don't quite understand what happened between 2018 and now. And whether this just kind of was put on the back burner through that time or what, but it seems to be they're kind of up against the deadline and are moving.
I have a question.
So obviously very much not an expert on what would happen if the dam were removed, but one thing I can say with certainty is that it's not a pond anymore without the dam. You know, the water level in there's like 5 feet, and the dam's like 7 feet. So it is very much it's a meandering creek through a soggy bottom, minus the pond, minus the dam.
How does ownership of water work in Vermont? Do you know? Is
What do you mean?
it all publicly owned?
Yeah.
Do you own, if your property, do you know like how private property interacts with water rights in the state? Like, I don't know that. Like, do people own those parcels and where the land is, it's private property?
Water,
Kristen, do you
water,
know? I don't know about the Adirondacks. I know about this area.
water is owned by the state of Vermont.
Okay.
That said, not every private property owner believes that. And
Okay.
certainly the private property owners own the land within their bounds.
In the case of Bristol Pond, 70% of the land around it is state owned anyway.
Oh, is
too.
it?
I mean, well, that's not true. A. Johnson owns a considerable portion of the camps, but it's largely state owned.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that is a state WMA. That's a
I have a
wildlife.
clarification question. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, it's pretty echoey, but I think we can know.
So, like, what are the options, right? Like, if we do nothing, the state eventually tears it down, or we choose to do something, and that is us funding fixing it or rebuilding a new one?
That basically is, as I understand it, the set of options, though, again, like the what makes all this a little scary is because this dam is so low on their list, they don't have a concrete plan for Bristol Pond Dam. What I was told very plainly is that those dams that far down the list are not really candidates for restoration to code, and they have very limited options if they're not going to restore it to code, basically remove the dam. Like I said, when that happens, because of how far down this list of 200 dams we are, I don't know. But yeah, I think, as I understand it, those are effectively the options, is that it gets brought to code or it's removed. And it gets brought to code is not really a viable option because it's not high enough priority to get funding.
Yeah, and so the deadline we're talking about is at some point in time, they're gonna say, when they get to that point down the list, hey, we've got it, now we're gonna schedule it or whatever for removal. And if we haven't made a decision or found funding by that point in time, then that's it? Or is it like, hey, we're on this point of the list, now we're gonna check in with y'all and see, can you fund it or not?
I don't think that that has been hashed out to such a degree that we have like a concrete answer for that. My feeling is that we need to, if we do want to do something about it, we ought to figure that out and be in, communicate this to the state pronto.
Cool.
So and again, like, I think there's a lot of community support. I think there's a lot of nonprofit support. I don't know that that means that the Bristol Conservation Commission is unanimously in favor of dealing with it, and I don't presume that. But I think we have to decide so we can decide whether to act.
I
Is
think
there any
because-
sense of how Moncton views this issue, if it's considering there's an issue of it trying to prevent serious flooding? What's down below the dam property wise, and has Moncton voiced any concern or wanting to weigh in?
That's a good question. I have not heard anything from the Moncton Conservation Commission on it. They did not have somebody that was at the testimony. That being said, I think in terms of like potential flood danger, one of the answers to this problem is meant to mitigate that. Like, I think let it go and hope it doesn't flood is not one of the options that the state is considering. They're either going to remove the dam, thus in theory, removing the load of water that could flood, or build the dam code. So like, the safety wise, this should be dealt with either way.
Okay, so I don't think I'm gonna let you vote on anything because we didn't add to the agenda formally for public discussion. So what do you want from us right now, and what we do for our agenda next time?
I think everybody ought to consider whether or not, do a little homework and consider whether or not you feel that this is that rebuilding the dam is the thing that the Bristol Conservation Commission should be behind.
Okay, is that timeline okay? We talk about that in June?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think this is moving like next month. quick.
How do we make a real decision about that without any sort of financial knowledge, like if it's possible to fund it?
That I very much hope we have answers to before very long. I think the person that I've been in communication with about this is out of the office this week, but that was my most recent question, and I very much hope we'll get that info like within the next couple days.
So you have a contact for somebody that can actually scope out the cost for the project?
Yeah, so the DEC is pricing these projects basically.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll add this to the agenda for next month. We'll continue our discussion then. You'll give us more information at that time. And then we'll have it on the agenda proper, so we'll be able to vote and do things with that. And then, or if there's public interest, like you said, if it's contentious, then the public would be warned about that as well. And then maybe we can also have, do you have any documents you could send us to read about these things?
Yeah,
If there's testimony, or if there's, I don't know, newspaper
I
articles
think
or.
Ben Green's testimony, who is the DEC dam safety officer,
Oh, great.
would be the one that I think is most probably was very comprehensive.
Can you
for an hour
find
long.
something like that and send it to us?
I can forward it to you. Yeah, it's
Perfect,
on
okay.
YouTube, actually. It's on the House Energy and Environment Committee posts everything, all their
Oh,
testimonies
cool.
to YouTube. So
Yeah, if you could
very
forward
easy to
that to the
find, yeah.
group, that'd be really helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, as a little homework.
Carolyn,
Yep.
I would
Get
just
into the
add one
email.
thing.
Oh, Kristen has something, sorry, yep.
That the Lewis Creek Association would have an interest in what's happening here because this is within their watershed, and I'd be glad to reach out and understand what they're thinking on the topic.
That sounds great. Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Maybe you can ask what they are thinking about it and ask, or if they could write something that we could read out loud at our meeting, or if they wanted to come, they could talk to us about that. I've already told Caitlin Cusack she could speak at 6 o'clock next time, but we can plug that as a 6:30 if there's interest from Lewis Creek to join. Okay, so if that's okay, can we move on to our next thing? The next thing would be those clean water projects. There's a call for clean water projects. I don't know how this dovetails with what we've just been talking about. Does anyone know anything about this that wants to speak to it? Otherwise, I can read parts of the email out loud because I don't know much about it. Does anyone like to run with that? Okay, so I got an email and I think we all got copied on the email. And it's the Otter Creek Basin Clean Water Service Provider seeks proposals for projects that improve water quality in Otter Creek, Lewis Creek, and the Little Otter Creek watersheds. Application materials are attached. Funding provided to nonprofit watershed organizations, natural resource conservation districts, and other nonprofit organizations and municipalities. Project, okay, fine. The project must reduce level of phosphorus entering waterways and depositing into Lake Champlain and be the primarily scored based on their cost efficiency in achieving this. Other benefits, including environmental justice, pollutants, ecosystem services, climate resilience, recreation, community enhancement, education opportunities, economic growth, all will play a role in scoring. And there's other details in there. And that would be a proposal we do June 20th. We just had this come across a couple days ago. Frida, who is the what is she, her formal job? She writes grants for the town. She forwarded this to us and was included on an email, and thought that maybe we might want to be interested in talking about this. She says that in Bristol, is there anything we'd like to see restoration or protection of river corridors, floodplains, wetlands, riparian, lakeshore corridors, or forestry projects related to water quality is due June 20th. She wants to know if we want to pursue this basically. And then we said we could add to our agenda at the last minute because we only just got this 2 days ago. So thoughts on that? Do we want to do that? Do we want Frida to work with us on this? And does this work with the dam? I don't know. Is that water quality? It's protection of river corridors, floodplains, wetlands, riparian, and lakeshore corridors. Is there something there? Is this a whole different project with phosphorus? I don't know how much phosphorus would get into Lake Champlain if the Bristol Pond became a river. I don't know those
Bristol Pond
details.
is kind of a tepid cesspool sludge pit too. I don't know.
Well, but that would be a settling, but is it acting as a settling basin for pollutants right now? Because you can make that argument.
Yeah.
If it's gonna start flowing with that dam,
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about water, but
Kristen, you're a water
what do you
person.
think?
Yeah, that's where we would need assessments. Typically if you're considering removing a dam or reconstructing a dam, there's an engineering preliminary assessment done in order to understand what the impacts to water quality would be. And it would include things like probing the depth of sediment in the upstream impoundment and all that kind of stuff. And because we don't have that information at the moment, it would be really hard to pitch a project to the clean water service providers, especially one that was focused on reducing phosphorus loading to Lake Champlain. We just don't have the information, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there something we would want to do with phosphorus in Lake Champlain in our area? Is that worth pursuing, or is it just an opportunity we can't take advantage of at the moment? What do you think about that?
So in terms of like, I guess that would really focus on the New Haven, right? I mean, that's our primary.
Well, they actually listed just Little Otter Creek and Lewis Creek, right? In what you just described.
It lists municipalities in the Otter Creek, Little Otter Creek, and Lewis Creek basins.
Okay,
But
so that does include. It will include, that does include New Haven River because it's.
That includes New Haven, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be our greatest, like, local source of phosphorus to the lake, right? New Haven.
And some agricultural activities along the Little Otter Creek headwaters and potentially in the Lewis Creek. I mean, these are all worthy projects, but we don't have something that's kind of shovel ready and
yeah, I agree.
Turn around by June 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I feel. We only got this 2 days ago, and I just can't see. It seems to be awfully fast to get something ready by June 20th. Since we don't have something we're like, yes, unless it was this thing you're excited about. I don't know what else we're excited enough about right now to do something.
I don't think we're ready for that either.
Well, that's true. Yeah, totally.
or that we would have landowner permission for and all that.
Of course.
Time and meetings.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a nice opportunity, but we're gonna pass on that, so, that'll be good. I'll email her and say that we don't feel comfortable pursuing that right now. Does that sound good? Okay, great, so that takes us then, are we good? That'll take us into old business. So it was an unexpected half hour on our time, but that's okay, we'll fly through things. The first is BCC membership. Welcome, new members!
Suddenly the flood.
We
After
did
the drought.
it! A full
Has it
load
been a
of
little rough for a
members.
while?
It's been bleak.
Oh, yeah.
We got down to 3 for a while there during
Really?
COVID, but we're back.
All right.
So yeah, and the select board meeting went well and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
They made you do feats of strength or something.
That's right.
Demonstrate your worthiness of being-
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Our next thing is our annual meeting, which was tabled in April because we didn't have as many people here as we'd hoped, where we need to vote on officers. So we need to vote on a chair, a vice chair, and a clerk. And so just a quick rundown, the chair runs the meetings and does organizational things. The vice chair is a nebulous role that we like to think of as someone else that can step in, especially with running the meetings when the chair can't be there, but also maybe being copied on emails or contentious things with landowners or something to try to help, get, sometimes that can be helpful. Sometimes the vice chair will help liaise with the town to think about treasury stuff. What else? Sometimes it's just good to have someone else who knows what's happening so that they can become the next chair if that's of interest to people. And then the clerk posts the agenda on the clerk, they send the agenda to Front Porch Forum, creates the minutes, make sure the minutes are approved, I guess the approved version to the clerk for the town, so they can post those. So start some paperwork with minutes and agendas. There was a time when the clerk would also create the agenda, although I've been doing that for several years now, and I don't mind. How is the chair to continue that to make the clerk a little less of an onerous job. So those are the 3 jobs that we have in our bylaws that we need to appoint every year. So we're late this year on it, and we need to do nominations and vote for people.
Do you want to continue, Ms. Chair?
I'm gonna nominate you.
Yeah. We
Continue.
can't go on.
I don't know.
Second that nomination.
Yeah.
Okay. So all those in favor of having Carolyn Dash continue as chair?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, so I'll continue as chair, and then does anyone want to be vice chair? No, you don't look at your email, so I'm gonna vote against that. I'll just vote against
chair.
That's right.
I'm good at nebulous roles.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much, actually. That's amazing. Does anyone else want to fight him for it? No. Beautiful. Okay, do we have, we had a self nomination. Anyone want to second that? I guess I don't even know what the rules are. All those in favor? Aye. Beautiful. Okay, anyone in favor of that vice chair? Beautiful. Okay, Kieran can be vice chair. And now it's the clerk, which no one wants to do. Who can be the clerk this year? So it's rotated around, which I think is really nice because people have traditionally not wanted to be the clerk. And we've had, gosh, a lot of people have done a year as the clerk so I think that's kind that we keep it going. Helen was the last clerk, and there has been a gap where I've been filling in as the putter on some of the paperwork. We've had people sending in different things. It's a little bit of a mess the last few months. So it would be good to get someone in that can keep it organized and get it posted.
What are the roles again for it?
Nancy, why don't you explain what the
I
clerk
thought
is?
Nancy volunteered.
Oh, the
That's what I
clerk?
thought I heard.
You keep the minutes, so you just write up what everybody says. And then you post.
Email
So
it to
the
everyone.
agenda, oh yeah, so after you email it to everyone, they will tell you if there's corrections. And then you'll send it to Sharon, the town clerk.
Within how many days? Like 3 days, a week? Something
It's
that.
like
Anyone
it's
remember?
like
There's a
3 days,
time.
3 days, yeah. 3
That's
days to
3 to 5
email it
days.
to
But it's
everyone, and
Thursday,
then it's
right?
like
So
it's got to be within like 5 days to send it to the town, something like that. But basically, what I did when I was clerk was I would take the agenda, and I would like have the agenda in front of me, and then I would be like
Sure.
typing into the
That's what
different
she's doing right now.
sections of the agenda, and then I just edit it afterwards and then send it to everybody.
Okay. I think that'll be a lot. So I'm in my apprenticeship. I start a class in the fall, which will be several nights a week. And
Okay, Nikki is delighted to be considered, but it's a lot for her to join the first
Mhm.
time, I think. So let's think about someone else that can do it.
perhaps next year though.
Perhaps next
Okay.
year. I like that. The vice clerk.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be able to do it next year again.
The
This year,
shadow
Grace
clerk.
still won't let me
I
touch
couldn't
my.
When the clerk isn't
Whoever-
there.
When the clerk isn't there, it becomes a problem because someone has to do it, and John can't. Because remember that time you took the notes on the back of an envelope?
Oh, way long ago.
That was, there were only 3 of us.
You probably did
Just
this
for
to-
time.
He planned it, so he never has to be clerk.
That's right.
That's what I should have done. I should have brought my envelope.
That's for sure about an envelope.
I have plenty of envelopes to hand out.
All right, that feels like a promise or a threat there that he'll do it otherwise. Can anyone jump in and do clerk?
I mean, I will do it.
Thank
It
you.
says-
Nancy.
You'll have to.
But you won't do it
Kristen
next
will
year
keep
then.
sending me
You know what you should do?
corrections to the minute.
We should, well, we
But
should
next
vote, if we
year-
vote on you, since you're already taking it today, you could write in, has only agreed to this one term. You could put it right in there, so you're taking
I didn't
notes.
know I could
How do you like that?
Yeah.
The
Got a lot of
power.
power.
Okay, cool.
I think
So,
it's a
does
great
anyone-
idea to make it like a one-term thing, like or like rotate. Like
Yeah.
every year you do another, like it does it.
I mean, we should
I'd
be,
totally
could
take
be
a turning.
rotating
I don't
any
think
of
we
the
need to
roles.
reach.
We
Okay,
could
all the
rotate.
rest are crazy.
All right, well, we'll see. Okay, so in that case then, do we have you agreed to do it. Does anyone want to nominate?
I'll nominate.
Beautiful. Do you have a second?
Second.
Beautiful. There's a second. All those in favor of Nancy being the clerk?
Aye.
Awesome. All right, Nancy, you're the clerk. Thank you. Would you put that caveat in? That's lovely. Okay, cool. Well, thank you to everyone for participating in the process. Okay, great. Wildlife corridor project. Discuss the next steps. There are 2 next steps that were offered in the last meeting. Alex, you said you were going to make a draft of something for homeowners with maps. And Kristen, you suggested taking the next steps from the tracking connection document and coming up with what we should do next. So did anyone do those things? And are you interested in talking about those things?
No, but, yes, basically, Max has not been working for me for the last little bit here, so we have not gotten in on that.
It's definitely Max's.
Very much a Max.
Definitely, yeah.
No, we have not.
Okay,
Still very much
That's something you're interested
something
in
I think
pursuing
is a
still.
good idea.
okay,
Is on the list.
okay, that sounds good.
I do need to get back in touch with Max. He was working with me for a while there, but has not been lately.
Okay, are you gonna follow up with that? Are you gonna follow up with that in June?
I will make a note.
Okay, fantastic. Kristen, did you look at the Sophie stuff?
I was just trying to quickly look through my old emails to find her a la carte cost
Mhm.
estimate. I might be able to find it before the end of the meeting if we wanted to look at it live and select.
Yeah, you know
two.
what? I could look for it too. I bet it's in my Google Drive. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, just give us a minute. You can catch up on notes. I'm finding her description of like her deliverables, but I'm not seeing her
Cost estimate.
her cost estimate. I'm not seeing that in the folder I made for everyone. Oh yeah, I should copy the new people in the folder. I should make a note of that. Okay, I don't have her, I only have it as a report. I don't have it as a proposal.
Mhm.
Let me do this fast enough. General services. Yeah, okay, I have something. Oh, I don't know if I should share that, so.
Because of the costs?
because there's prices on it. And
I
it would
think it's
be
okay. I mean,
a 2022 price list.
yeah, it's outdated. It would need to be updated possibly anyway.
Okay, I just want to make sure you thought that was okay. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to share that with the group then. Share cost estimates. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so Kristen, could you talk to everyone about what this is that we're looking at? And like who Sophie is and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
our people
So
that weren't here in October of 22.
yeah, when we first started down this path of wanting to update the wildlife tracking for Bristol, we reached out to Sophie Mazuita, who does this professionally and has done it for several towns in Vermont and maybe outside of Vermont as well. And we asked her to prepare a list of some of the tasks that could be done for Bristol, kind of an a la carte menu of different tasks. And we had given her the go ahead to do 1A, which you're seeing right now. She compiled and reviewed existing data and resources. She also
Yeah, and then and she worked with that student from Middlebury too, remember? And they
correct.
worked, so she gave wanted to kickstart that student's project. We have a lot of data from that student, then of like
Yeah.
documents they found together and stuff.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome.
And she came to Bristol, and a few members of the commission accompanied her on some field visits to different popular wildlife crossing locations, which they
This
mapped.
was it 2A?
Might have been 2A, yeah. And then there was an anonymous donor that had been viewing our meetings, minutes and recordings, and paid for, was it 4, task 4? No,
Yeah.
it wasn't 4.
I think it was the field day.
Was it the field day?
I think we were able to pay for 1B out of our what's the
Our
operating budget
fund.
or operating stipend or whatever that is. And then I think we did the one field day, the 2A. I think we
Yeah.
argued about it and we just couldn't figure out how to get the money for it. And it was like $200 or $300. And we kept going in circles. And then someone just saw the video or was
Yep.
in the meeting or I don't know, and just said like, have the money, which was amazing. And so we were able to get that because of an anonymous donor.
Correct.
Which was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And so we haven't done some of these other tasks like there is strong interest in
This
the
outreach
town.
thing we didn't do.
Yeah, the outreach thing, the training of community volunteers to do tracking, and kind of support that with kits at the library, things like that. And we haven't done these road surveys, the 4 field days. She would guide, she's done this for other communities. She would train a set of volunteers and then kind of oversee them or guide them over several weeks, maybe over winter, to do tracking and record their observations and then compile all those in a map. So depending upon what we think we need, and some of this is based on the conversation that you all had with the Planning Commission about what they might need in terms of informational maps for the updates to the town plan. We might be able to think about grant writing to pay for some of these additional a la carte steps, or figure out a way for Sophie to work maybe with the Middlebury College students, that kind of thing. But yeah,
I also was I recently spoke to a student at Middlebury who was doing work like this. I think it was at Cornwall, and she had some maps. It was a very nice poster, and I spoke to her about like, what are you doing now? Like, how does this become reality? What is actionable, right? Like, it's great that we did it, but now what, And we've been talking all along about getting something into the town plan. It's in 2028. We have time still. What are we going to do? And I talked to Monica Pretzahart, who helped found the Tracking Connection. And she said that she and Jeff Howarth over there were grappling with that exact thing with the students project. And so she said that she would be interested in having a conversation about what she was envisioning, like what their next steps could be. And I think that if we had a good handle of what we wanted, like what could be useful, that could be in the town plan, and then think if that's our goal, like how do we get to there, and see if we need or could use Sophie to bridge that gap a little bit, would be really helpful. So I could put on my sort of homework for the month to go follow up with Monica and see what she was thinking about. You know, what do we have and how do we get there? I think she has a really good perspective on that.
I really feel like I remember brought this up last time, but like coming up with frameworks for the planning commission to deal with individual properties, like templates, is the most actionable way forward. And I think, like, despite, you know, I had a whole lot of fun, you know, with the corridor project with the students and all, and the idea of a townwide map is, I think, still something we should have on our radar. But just in terms of the planning commission and what it felt like they really felt like they might be able to use, we can't do maps of everybody's property, and just through, even if we had the manpower and the time, the permission is an issue. Like, we just only have certain places we can deal with, and as such, like more like I said, templates, I guess, like frameworks for how people can take their property, or the planning commission can take potential subdivisions, whatever the case may be, and, you know, facilitate wildlife travel through those properties in a template form, rather than a literal, like, this property, you know, this is the court, so sort of thing, is our best way forward to it being, like, productive with them.
You guys might wanna check with AZ Lawson, the zoning administrator. She just got a program approved by the select board to do all this mapping of the community. So maybe you might wanna hold that off until we get that done.
They were part of our meeting there.
It would be done, we'd have to do it.
Yeah, so Easy was part of this conversation.
Well, that goes back to that sort of like mock-up of like what you were envisioning with
I think that will be really productive. I don't exactly know what that's gonna look like yet. It's kind of a daunting task, honestly.
Absolutely.
But it's like,
That's what I'm actually
but I think that's like how we can get this to actually be like implemented by the planning commission, and catch people's ears, is like that. I do think that's gonna be the model.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I also think it would be important to think about what we can put into the town plan, because it is 25 years out of date.
Yeah.
Something has to be better than what we have now.
Right.
And we're really close, but we're not patching that gap yet, right?
The idea, like, I mean, when it comes to updating the like a version of the thing that was in the old town plan, I think that's where we ran into in the first iteration of this project, the issue of just how much property in Bristol we actually have access to mapping. Like, that is the hang up there, that we just don't have landowner permission everywhere.
Right, but then we also don't we have the state, you know, shape files?
We have overlays, we have, we do have.
There's a lot of
we can
information out
pull
there.
straight off of our website,
Certainly has to be more updated than it was 25 years ago.
We can't
right? Even the
be less,
scale,
yeah.
right?
But that
has
was
to
just
be.
an arrow down the hallway.
Right, exactly. It was
Like
like,
the woods.
it was a picture of Bristol with like a circle, like here's
Yeah.
probably where bears live, you know, you have to be able to
We can beat
measure
that,
that.
for sure.
Okay, cool. So I think we have some things we can think about for the next time. I'll talk to Monica, you'll follow with Max. And then, Krista, how do you feel about that? What are your thoughts for next steps for next month?
Sorry. Trouble.
Oh, I was thinking for next steps for next month, maybe we could send this document to everyone so they could look it over and think about what we had, and then I'll try to get the new folks on the Google Drive. Maybe I'll resend it to everyone, just so you remember you have it. It's a Google Drive that's filled with all the different project deliverables from Sophie, and the 3 different student groups that we had work on it. So that could be good to kind of catch people up on where we're at.
Are you guys aware of this project too? We might have kind of blown over.
Oh yeah, it's
some
hard,
stuff.
sorry.
The high level view of this is there was a wildlife corridor map in the town plan that we are currently going off of, but the town plan is being updated this year. So part of that is we're working to update the wildlife corridor map throughout the town. The relevant use for that being that the planning commission and landowners can use this information when influencing development decisions. So that's basically what we're what we're working on here. Over the past couple of years, we've worked with some college students and done trail camera surveys throughout the town and so on, trying to get them put together a more comprehensive map of like really critical areas.
Mhm. So I'll loop you into that. I'll give you those documents because there's a lot of good stuff in there. Even the one that first student that worked with that, was it 1A that Sophie had of, she spent several hours figuring out what's been done already and filling these documents. She gave that to the student who then did this project, and her project was getting future projects ready. So she has a whole map, like a concept map of who are the stakeholders, how do you contact them, who in the Bristol community knows what, and that's just what cool groundwork to have to jump off that for future projects. So that's really nice to have that. It's an unusual resource, but we thought through like, okay, if you're the first student on several projects, this is your first project. So that was a really nice use of that time we were able to buy with Sophie.
The Middlebury students have been a really good source of work and expertise.
Yeah, we just need to figure out what we want them to do, and then they'll do it. But that tricky part is like, what do we want them to do? Like, what's useful, you know? But then they'll do whatever we say, which is awesome, and they're really good at doing things. So yeah, it's been great. Okay, cool. So that's good for now. I think we can leave that conversation. Yeah, great. And then the next thing is the Timberlands trail partnership. It should be multi, I'm guessing, which is Roger. Liaison.
Yeah. So I had emailed her, I think it was right before our last meeting, and they said that basically the submission deadline had just happened and they hadn't had a chance to look at anything yet, and to give her some time. So I figured I'm on holiday in Georgia right now, and I get back week after next. So I was gonna ping her when I get back, and hopefully that'll be enough time, and just kind of see like if they've narrowed it down to how many people, and like, is it at a place that we can take a look.
Roger, you're referring to the submission deadline for contractors' proposals. Is that
Correct? Yeah. Yep.
Do you know what this project is? Great. So Roger, could you fill them in on what this project is about?
It's super cool. So
thanks.
You're good to go. Yeah, so basically I think the short and long of it is A. Johnson has decided to refurbish, I don't know how you want to say, but hogback and break it into 5, I think it's 5 zones, maybe 6, to build multi-use trails. Multi-use being like some would like literally be multi-use and others like just for hiking or whatever, right? And
mountain bikes.
Yeah, right. So like hiking and mountain biking would be like an actual multi-use trail, but in general it's a multi-use trail project, even though some of them won't be literally multi-use. So yeah, but what they did is they put out an RFP for architects basically to get a design back, and they split it up saying, hey, you can choose to design one of these like zones or the entire project, and so we're waiting for those. We could probably forward you that RFP. We have it somewhere. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Yep, 7 zones. Oh, those aren't the zones, sorry. But yeah, anyways.
The circled numbers are the zones, aren't they? No?
I think those are just
There's
areas
the
that are on
zones.
the
These are the
key.
zones. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly.
And the RFPs for zone 1 right now, zone 2? I don't
No,
know.
it's the whole project. But what they did is they said, like, if you want to just bid on one zone, you can. So like, for example, like not all the zones are for all the same type of project. So say I'm super good at doing bike trails or whatever, I just want to bid on the bike trail zone. I don't know the justification necessarily, I'm kind of making that up, but regardless, maybe for smaller firms, you know, whatever. So they got those RFPs back about a month ago, I guess now. And we've been in conversation with it's the Bristol like cycling folks who are running it, I guess kind of like a joint deal with A. Johnson. And so we had a big meeting where they brought it to us and we talked about it, and we asked if we could be as much of a part of the RFP process as possible. just to have as much insight as early as possible, and ideally to give feedback if they're willing to accept it. So that's kind of where we're at. All the RFPs are in, they have them, and they're scoring them, and we're waiting to see how much access we'll get to that.
Questions or thoughts? You good?
Yeah, I'm a little unclear about like the process of
Yes.
all of this.
Well, it is private land. And so they've invited us to liaise with them. So Roger's filling that role.
Okay.
But it's unclear what that relationship will really be.
Okay.
And we're waiting. But since we said we would do it, we haven't actually heard from them about what's happening.
I have no idea what
Yeah, this is kind of the first step to define that relationship.
What's that?
It's
only been
really
2
like
months.
I said,
It's been 2
it's
months,
like
yeah.
I had no idea that was all private.
I think
yeah.
right when it started,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
all
go,
like
go,
that.
go, and then it like
Yeah.
has nothing.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of agency land that people think is public land, but they've just allowed public access for so long, and
Right.
it's,
So essentially, they make the decision. It's at their discretion.
Right.
Yeah,
But, you know, it's
but
really
he
nice
did come
hear-
to us for our opinion, right? Which,
Right.
you know,
That's good,
shows
yeah.
a willingness to listen, or else why ask, right?
Okay.
and Ken Johnson was a former member of the
Mhm.
BCC. They're a very, you know,
He was the chair for
conservation
years. Yeah.
minded organization, I think,
Okay.
by and large.
Um,
They'll carry what we have to say.
Okay.
Yeah. But so we want to see those, see what's come in, so we can think about like, do we have suggestions,
Right.
or would we, you know, do we have like a certain firm for a certain reason, or if we like something from one, that's, I mean, like ecological assessment, could that be built into a different one they're gonna go with, or we don't really know what that'll be
Right.
like
Yeah.
yet, until we see those
'Cause the-
documents, yeah.
Yeah, each one did like include the need for an environmental assessment. And I think that was something that we had talked about before. I think we even asked like, would they be open to us funding one? And they said no. But you know, that was one thing where we really wanted to see like what each person's strength and weakness is around that, each applicant, I should say, or respondent. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
And there's things that are amazing about it, you know, there's things that, you know, we have concerns about, like
Sure.
they have machine built trails they're gonna have for
A lot of
bikes. You know, what about water, endangered species? Like, we don't know, because we don't have the plans yet, so it's hard to comment until we see anything. But it does sound as though they've invited us to be part of that conversation, which is really, really nice to hear, yeah.
Do you know, is Middlebury College had any input into this? 'Cause they have a landlocked
I
parcel
did,
right in the middle of all
I
this,
talked to
so
Mark Lappin about it, and I tried to put Mark and Ken in touch with each other. And they didn't see that there was an interest to pursue
Yeah.
that, so I tried. I thought they might have something they would talk about, but
Yeah, or both them and the Nature Conservancy have these little in-holdings there.
Mhm.
Would be very interesting to.
Where
I
are
mean,
those
it's
at?
just the TNC portion was like, I mean, the whole point of them purchasing it was protecting peregrine falcon
Right.
nesting. Would be kind of, they, I'm sure they would have some thoughts on krill development around it, but again, it's not their.
Right.
It's not their land.
right, yeah, exactly.
So where the peregrines are, that's carved out. is it?
Yeah, TNC
Yeah.
bought that.
Like a little
Yeah,
donut hole,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
a small, it's only a couple acres.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
the
really
majority
small.
of the area, it really is all A. Johnson. There's a
Yeah.
little Middlebury College, there's some private owners, and then there's the.
I
had no idea.
Middlebury's only that like little pond and bog area, right? Like, it's a
Gosh, I
pretty
don't know too
small
much about it. You
square,
just have
yeah.
to, chat to Mark about it. He's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
lands expert. But yeah, we just pull up some maps and he was showing me where it is. And I don't, it's not,
small.
the Middlebury College section isn't, I think it is adjacent to A.
Should be
Johnson
right on the
Lumber
north
Company
border
land,
of it.
but it's not within the boundaries. It looked like from those maps of where they want to put the trails.
Gotcha.
It's a little farther north along the pond there.
It's a very cool little property. It's,
Yeah. Yeah, it just sort of hangs out there.
We had cameras in that during that project.
That makes
so-
sense. Yeah, we own it, might as well. Easy
It is a
landowner
big- yeah, The
permission.
big saddle that you see from Bristol Pond is like right on the notch there.
Mhm.
Middlebury College portion's on the north side of it, so it's a pretty good little corridor.
You didn't have any cameras in the area that they would build the.
We didn't have
trail?
permission to camera
Okay.
track in the A. Johnson parcels.
Okay, are we ready to move on to parks updates? Okay, great, let's move on to parks. So we don't have, what? Aiden, oh, he's not here. Aiden likes to come, he often mostly comes, he's the, anyone know his job title? I
Parks
forgot.
director?
No.
Assistant.
Oh, no, that's the recreation director. He's the parks.
Yeah, I
something.
think he's the parks director.
Okay. Well, whatever he is, he works at the recreation. There's only 2 people in the whole department. He's the other person besides Meredith. And he visits the parks once a week, or he tries to, and picks up some trash. He gives us some updates on things that need to be fixed or things he's working on. He's been doing a lot of really good work there. That job has been in flux over the last several years. It was a really great guy in there for a while. He moved on to Heinsberg, Williston, or some bigger place north, and is doing a great job there. And then we didn't have anyone really that was interested in doing the parks piece of that job. And Aiden has come in like really excited about that, which has been awesome. So he usually comes, he sent an email to me apologizing for not coming, but had a last minute conflict. So he normally would talk to us about whatever he sees at the parks at this time. But for our sake, does anyone want to say anything about the parks before we talk about Seth Hill and Eagle Park? Okay, great. So let's move on to Seth Hill. Seth Hill field trip is scheduled for May 22nd at 5 p.m. Does anyone know how many cars we can park there, or any thoughts on like carpooling?
We could all park along the road there.
You can? Oh, fantastic. Okay, that sounds good. There was a suggestion in that email. Now this is, David Brin had suggested the time, and in that email, he said, maybe we want to invite Don Gale to that event. Would anyone want to, does anyone know him or want to offer an invitation?
He's the leaseholder, right?
He has the lease for the maple syrup taps, yeah. So if, I don't know if we want to invite him to that or not, or if we want to just go with just the commission, or if we want to also have that conversation with Don at that time, I don't know what will be appropriate or ideal. Anyone have any thoughts on that? That was in the email.
It could be interesting to get his point of like what he thinks about it, what he's doing on the land, his thoughts.
Yeah.
I can reach out to him if you want.
Oh, cool.
No,
Yeah, no, I don't.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Yeah, well, that sounds good. Anyone on Zoom thoughts? No Zoom thoughts on that. Okay, great. Well, then, yeah, if you could invite Don, so it's May 22nd at 5. We're just gonna do a tour because we've never been there. We don't know anything about it. And sort of that history piece is that the previous administrator sort of said like, yay, go ahead, do this grant. Yay, you got the grant, and never looped us in, never asked anyone about it. Now they use that grant money to make water bars, but Don says the bars are too deep and now he can't drive his truck on there, but the work's already been done. There's a concern if we can't just accept grant money and then undo the work that we got with a grant. We as the commission didn't have anything to do with it. The town feels that they didn't have anything to do with it because no one really realized what was happening. Valerie sort of just okayed it, but is now gone. So now it just comes down to how do we deal with that? Do we deal with it? What's appropriate? Yeah, it's really a very strange property. We've never visited it. We never even knew it really existed. It used to be where the town got its water. It's located in Lincoln, and Bristol owns this parcel. And now we sort of historically still own it, is my understanding, but don't do anything with it. And I think Don has had a lease to tap the maple syrup trees, the sugar maples on there for a long time. Okay. And that David Brin has sort of been overseeing and managing it as Vermont Family Forests. But perhaps technically we should be the ones managing it. We don't really know much about this. It's sort of just this weird falls through the cracks spot that we own, but we don't really know that we own. And Kristen is working on a management plan so we don't fall into this trap in the future. And that's a broad stroke, my understanding of the situation. Anyone want to add to that? Okay.
That was a very comprehensive overview, Carolyn. Nice job.
Somehow or other, we need to figure out how to not be involved with the fallout from projects that we had nothing to do with.
Exactly.
And grant money should not be appropriated to do things on our property.
Exactly. The whole
I don't know how to
thing.
make that happen, but this definitely was not.
Yeah.
Procedurally, there's some kinks to work out.
Well, and as soon as we got the email that said, congratulations, you got this money, and then it was emailed out to us as, yay, they got this money, I immediately replied and said, what are you talking about? And by then it was too late because we weren't invited to be part of the conversation at all. I was just told, yay, we got it. And then when I said, can we talk about it? I was told, no, we're too busy. We'll talk about it in fall. And by the time that fall happened, they'd already gotten there was this whole conflict that had occurred. So it was too late to get involved by then. So yeah, so it's just unfortunate, the way that sort of policy worked and everything, so. Oh, and Aiden, is the recreation program coordinator. Thank you, Kristen, for copying and pasting that.
Yeah, before we go,
it provides access to the national forest behind it, which is the only way I've ever dealt with it, is walking through it to the national forest area. It's a cool spot.
Yeah,
It's teeny tiny.
I've never
It's
been there,
beautiful.
yeah.
I do not
Roger?
know where this place is. Can somebody can we email out a pin or something for how
He
to
sent
actually
us
get
a
there? I didn't see
map.
it.
Yeah, in that email,
I was looking in there.
he sent us, I think everyone's on it.
No, I'm
I
on
can
it. I was
resend it.
digging through. It's just long.
Didn't he send a map?
I
On
can
that
pull it
email?
up on Onyx and send it to the group.
Could you do that? That'd be helpful, yeah.
Oh, maybe it just didn't load for me.
Is there a possibility, Carolyn, the way that we had a field trip to look at the 3 parks with Meredith setting up the van, could we do that for this trip?
I have no idea. What was the van trip? That wasn't Conservation Commission, that was something else.
That was
the,
accessible parks.
Yes, there's accessible parks funding for that.
It's the
Oh,
hub's
okay.
van.
Oh, it's the hub. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I guess we could email, do you want to, Jenna, why don't you email Aiden and see if he'll let us use the van?
I can check with Aiden and see if that's feasible. It just seems like it's a smart way to go, more economical and efficient, etc.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is what, let me share my screen. This is what I have from David about, I asked, how do we get there? And this is what he sent. Which, come to think of it, might not be as helpful.
Yeah, I can send it on its thing, that will be much.
There's a lat
easier to
long.
follow
There you go.
Of what? Just the
Okay.
center. Yeah, I didn't have that attached on my version of that email. If it's the same one, so I don't know.
Oh,
I think
no, okay.
it says here is an attachment, and then it's just like a photo of a logo, as far as I could tell.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
don't see it online.
Okay, I'll put that on my list of things. I'll say, I'll try to send that back out. And then, but Alex, you'll also do one,
Yeah,
okay? Because this one that I have might even be that good, but you'll, if you can do a better one.
Get this right now.
There's ample parking for 6 vehicles right at the end of the Waterworks Road.
Yeah, there'd be no problem with parking there, no.
Okay. What about, is that good then? We're good there? And I think we're supposed to wear like mud boots, right? Alex,
What's that?
we're supposed to wear like mud boots, like calf high slot boots are not that time of year,
I
by May
don't think it's
22nd.
that.
It won't be that bad, okay.
Critical.
Okay, and
It's
then,
not a small
okay, and next thing is Eagle Park Walk and Weed Debrief. So there are 4 of us going up there today. Who wants to talk about it? Am I gonna talk about it?
What was that?
I keep
What was that
talking.
plant we were ripping up?
Japanese knotweed.
We got rid of some of that where we didn't
Mhm.
want it. Yep.
It's jumped across the sidewalk now, like towards the garden. So we pulled out, I don't know, 50 shoots. It's
How
not great.
how tall is it up there right now?
Some of it's a couple feet high already.
Yeah, most of what we were looking at wasn't well established, so it was still, I don't know, 6 inches to a foot.
How easy
But
is
then
it to
some
like
tall
rip
ones.
up by the roots? Is it decently easy?
It depended on how thick the soil was. The soil was much thinner
Yeah.
there than it used to be after the construction, which is in our favor. But yeah, I think if you drive by, if you don't mind, stop and pull it out of that side. Otherwise, it's just gonna be, it'll be knotweed all the way to the parking lot in a few years if we don't occasionally go to the Lincoln Library. I don't know why people drive up there.
Well, we go to
Drive by.
Lincoln like multiple days a week for preschool. So.
That's right. Well, if you could do like an after, like on Wednesdays, we pull knotweed. Kids love destroying things, so
Yes.
that'll be perfect.
Love pulling up plants.
Kristen, you said you used to do it, right? And then you don't drive that way much anymore?
Yeah, I used to do it on the way to Lewis Creek Farm, but with the construction, I got out of the habit. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if anyone drives by it, it'd be helpful to pull that out. So what are our thoughts about Eagle Park long-term then? So we had, so it was our two new people came and got to see the spot. Chris and I were there as well. And I think we sort of thought maybe we wait a few weeks and see what's coming up in that garden and then see if there's holes if we want to fill a few plants in, but maybe not go back to like, because we used to do a big mulching and we had a whole big garden up there, but it's just been destroyed by all the construction. I think it might be just easier if they mow by the fence now, especially if they got to go around the fence, probably easier to let them just do that. Does that sounds like an okay plan to people? I don't know if anyone else has thoughts about that. Okay. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe next month we'll talk about what plans we have up there. I was also thinking it might be nice for Nikki and Karen to see some of the other parks like Memorial and Sycamore. Was anyone be interested in hosting a walk with them? I can do it, but if you wanted to, or if you want to reach out to Aiden, any interest there from anyone? Because I think it's Memorial's the big one, also Sycamore, and there could be a Saunders River access too, which is, something good to check in on. I haven't been there in ages.
Memorial might be kind of fun to do a field trip to sometime and just talk about our long-term vision for it, because it's currently closed and we don't exactly have a plan for where to go with it. There's this safety concerns we gotta figure out there as far as it being open as a town park. Bridge is decrepit and steps that are decrepit and so on and so forth.
If we can volunteer Aiden in his absence, then if he could email us or something, and he's going there anyways, and then somebody could tag along.
Okay, I'll email Aiden and then
Is he doing the rounds of Memorial anymore with it being closed, or is that off his list?
Yeah. I think so.
I'll email him about tag along visits and what time he does those, and then I'll do some visits with people that want to go for days. If he has parks he doesn't go to, or if it doesn't work out. She still doesn't go to Saunders. No one goes there. Right, Kristen, can we drive up there right now? It's probably dry enough, but not too weedy yet. Isn't this the time in the year to do it?
It is dry enough, but Alan hasn't taken the first cut of hay off it yet. It's looking like it's getting close to where he will be. And so right after he takes the first cut of hay might be a good way to get in there.
Okay, so that would be, maybe we can something to talk about at our next meeting then?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I bet there's people who have never been there,
I
right? I bet Nancy, you've never been there, right?
I haven't been there. I'd love to go there.
I
What
could
was
give
that,
a little.
Kelly?
I could give a little tour of the history of what we did there.
Yeah,
I've never been quite sure where one was supposed to drive.
That's like the Isle del Norte. Well, those who only have been there before
Right.
can return, right?
Wait up the river to it.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing. There's this one little post and you gotta know where, there's a landmark on the other side of the street and you turn that way. And then you drive through a field, then you drive along the other side.
Driving through fields of people who don't want you driving through the field has historically not been a popular.
It turns
I've
out
never
though,
myself to find
there's
it.
some kind of right-of-way situation where we're supposed to be able to do that. I don't know the details. But we'll do something. So next meeting, we'll talk about a visit there. And then in the meantime, between now, we have the Seth Hill one coming up, but I'll talk to Aiden. We'll see if he's interested in leading some. And if not, I'll get some people up there. I'll send an email about some time.
Walk around.
What was that?
Sycamore is easier than the other two.
Yeah.
Meet and walk around.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. We'll maybe just do those by email so we can do Aiden. Okay, that sounds
Before we get totally
Oh,
off the
yeah,
Seth
go
Hill
on,
thing
yeah.
real quick, can
Seth
you guys
Hill?
give me your email, because I've got a
yeah.
screenshot of these, of how to get to the Seth Hill spot.
Also, my first initial N.
Yep.
BELANG @gmail.com. Looks like N Belang.
So BELLANG.
One L. NBELANG.
Yep. At Gmail.
Yep.
Sweet.
I know it probably doesn't matter for most people, but just a reminder, this is public on YouTube.
Oh shit.
Also, I think your email might already be on the website anyway. isn't
You're
it?
a public figure now, my
That's right.
Oh no, only my email's on there. So no one else wants to be chair.
Watch it. We'll email you.
Thank you.
Damn.
Well,
I
if
get
you
enough
post on
spam
Front Porch
emails.
Forum, also, no
Right.
one watches it. I was worried about sharing public information in the incorrect way. And I was worried about, I had this like sort of anxiety thing about it, and I called Ian Elmison. I asked him, like, should we take the video down? Like, what should I do? And he looked through our YouTube history and was like, 8 people have watched this ever. He's like, in 3 years, you had 8 views. Like, don't worry about it. He was like, no, I'm not taking it down. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's it for parks. Are we good? Yes, great. Okay, so Green Up Day debrief. How'd it go?
Wanna go?
It went well. We had 26 people, right? That came to
Sure.
get bags. Everybody was friendly. It started to rain and then we moved over to the steps here.
Yeah.
People still noticed us. I think next year we would want like something that hangs from the table. And I thought maybe if even it was just a disposable tablecloth, like you can get them cheap at like the $1 market and then hang a sign on that.
Oh yeah, did they have the sandwich board for you this year? Did we do the green? Remember my mom made those green bows?
Yes, no, there was no
That
sandwich
wasn't out there
board.
this
That's-
year.
I was like
Okay.
sitting there thinking, wait,
Yeah,
get
we
these
usually
things
get
and-
one from,
yes,
yeah,
and
the
bows
rec
and the
department.
flowers.
We usually get one from the rec department or from Bristol Core.
Yes.
They usually
that's
give
what
us
it
a big
was.
sandwich board sign, and then, yeah, my mom likes to make bows out of the Green Up Day bags and hang them on
Oh,
the
nice.
sign, so people see the green from
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, we had people asking, are you guys doing the bags? And so they weren't
Oh,
sure.
sure.
From a distance.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm. Yeah, messaging. Okay, so we ended up passing out 331 bags, which is a little less than usual, but it sounds like it was pretty rainy this year. So we'll see what the weight turns up like, because that really is the most important thing. And I'm not sure how many volunteers yet, but I'll count those up. We did have all the students from BES do it again this year, which is always great. I love having the kids do it. I was able to get pencils for every kid in K through 3rd grade and stickers for every kid at the school as a prize, which was nice. Yeah, so I was able to get that. I don't know what happened to all the gloves. I hope whoever has them, I wish them the joy of them. And then, no, I don't
Yeah, we
need
did, we don't know
them.
where
You know, we don't need them. It's
But
fine.
the
Unless they
reason I
litter
think-
them, then I'll be
Yeah.
angry, right?
Yeah.
they were. We know we're there. They're
But yeah,
across
we
the
had,
school.
and yeah, and 331 bags, pretty good.
Mhm.
For a town of, what, under 4,000 people, that seems like a lot. And then, yeah, we'll see what our weight looks like. And when I get that, I'll send out an email. Off Front Porch Forum with all the numbers as a little digest. And I can debrief again with the final numbers next month. So that's everything for Green Up Day. Yep, yeah, okay, educational outreach. Continued discussion.
What's this now?
Zaylee was gonna talk about this.
Me?
Oh, wait, really? I've never heard of it.
Well, it's been tabled for a few months. She told me to put it on and table it last month.
I
and put it on
want
this
to
month.
do something about it.
Who
Well,
are we reaching out to?
Nikki, you had some ideas.
Educational outreach was an idea. In the past,
Oh, to
we've
get
used some of our like stipend, our sort of our, what is it, like operating budget. We only have $300 a year. We've used some of that money to hire someone like Sue Morris to do a thing about like animal tracks. We had someone come talk about falcons or something a long time ago, like raptors and stuff, I think. Just different things. And then we had thought maybe there could be an education outreach about animals in the area or about pollinators, think about that
Yes.
pollinator garden thing. But you know, these things take planning, and so you know, and we only meet once a month. So if we want to do pollinator garden already, maybe we want to think about what timer we have for next year. Who could we bring in? We could bring in, you know, what would they charge? What other things that are free, like different educators, people from the state that might come in. And you know, we'll do this in Holly Hall since we are the town. We don't have to pay to use the town's building. So we'll set chairs up in rows and get a projector and have a night where we say like, come
Nice.
learn about butterflies or whatever.
They do
But we
that in
haven't done that in a
Salisbury.
while. I used to do more of those, before COVID. And then since COVID, we really haven't gotten back in the swing of doing that. So something to think about. And Zilly was excited and said she would think about some of those things, not to paint it on you, but
Yeah,
other
no,
people
but we,
also were
yeah,
excited about the
seems like,
conversation.
Yeah.
it seems like right now we should be thinking about winter probably, since that's the most realistic time to get people out to talks like that.
Yeah.
Like winter and early spring. So, you said in the past, when you guys did it in the past, that there was like donation at the door and then you paid the people from that, right? So
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
more
we
like
always
trying to
had
figure out how much
enough.
they charge.
I think we always made sure it was under $300 so we could cover it if we had to.
Okay.
But then said like donations to help pay for the person were appreciated. And I think it always kind of comes out where usually the donations covered it, but just in case, I think we never wanted to go, so it was more than 300.
Right. So we couldn't
'Cause
set
that's
up
our-
like a series or something unless there were a few free people in there.
Yeah, unless there are people who are outreach, people, part of their job is to do outreach from the state, right? Or that might be from, I don't even
You can
know,
get nonprofit
Vermont.
folks.
What was that?
You know, Ducks Unlimited.
Yeah,
Wherever, you know, like,
exactly.
there's nonprofits that would send
There's
people out,
nonprofits
you
that
know.
would send people to, yeah, but we have to think what we want and we have to have someone contact them and set that up, so.
Maybe like forest pest insects. That was a good one. I went to think about that. And the state entomologist came to talk about it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then Jim Andrews, the local herpetologist,
Yes.
does like birding and
Yeah,
herpetology related
Yeah.
stuff, the salamander soiree.
Cool.
yeah, and we've had some good
I'd like to
turnouts.
advocate for the pollinators too.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a real popular
Yeah, and
one.
well, and
Pollinators,
pollinator pathways does a really good series of lectures. So we would just want to make sure, check out their stuff and make sure we didn't like overlap with the lectures that they were, or the talks that they had going, but they only do them every once in a while. So it'd be pretty easy not to, I think. We could
Well,
even
we could
coordinate with them.
Coordinate with them and have them here.
Yeah,
That's
have
more
a
what I was thinking, yeah.
co-host
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, because I've gone to a couple other talks at the Congregational Church in Middlebury, and they're always packed, like completely packed.
Yeah, I think giving people more information about, like instead of this came up with the Know My May stuff, right? Instead of saying just don't mow, or instead of saying just plant wildflowers, like it's more intricate than that. And I think in the spring, people are getting into gardening and like getting out of like back into the sunshine or whatever that thing's called. And then like you probably get more people out and interested.
Yeah, pollinators in late February, March would be perfect. But yeah, there's something we could do in fall to have 2 things next year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anyone
So anyway, I
comes
just
up
want
with
to keep it on there so we
name.
keep talking about it, but I don't really expect anyone to do anything yet, but I do want to keep it going. Otherwise we'll forget and we won't do it again for 3 years, right? So.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
it's
we used to
definitely a
do
good
more of
idea to have a couple of them next winter. That'd be fun.
And I think just in terms of the mission of the Conservation Commission, we do lots of different things. My understanding is that the New Haven Commission only does outreach. Is that right? So that's what they've decided is their mandate. And so they do a lot more of this, or at least they used to in the past. I don't know where they are, post-COVID, some of the things are different. But I know there was a time when that was their thing, and they had a lot of these kind of speakers they would host and stuff. So, and we used to do more of that as well. Okay, well, that's great. Let's just keep that conversation kind of rolling and we'll talk about that in the next, if you see something that someone doesn't or have an idea, let's just like keep that going. Web page is updated again. We do have the new folks on the web page. And those are all listed. So, and this is just accounting reasons, but Karen, you are going to be through 2027 and you're through 2029. And then you just renew and you don't even notice it's happening. They send you an email and goes, do you want to renew? And you go, what? Okay. And then it just rolls over the number. So it doesn't matter, but it is all organized on there. And that's interesting. It's a subscription model, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
for sure. These are those things that they're advertising all the time. It cancels your memberships. Very
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll make one of those.
And so that's all updated.
Also,
and then
the Zoom link was
Roger, the
updated
Zoom
and it
link,
works.
Yeah. You asked for that, and so I made sure that happened with the Zoom link, and I got rid of I had them get rid of that link that didn't go to anything, so that was for you. So that's all updated, and then I will get that updated again for the new rules. So we'll do that. Beautiful. Okay, and then The last thing is summer meetings. I thought we should create a plan for summer meetings. Okay, so a lot of people travel a lot for summer. And I think it'd be nice if we could create a plan. So June 2nd, Caitlin Cusack's gonna visit, and then I just said there was gonna be something else we're gonna talk about. Was it the dam? It was the dam, is 6:30. Okay, unless you decide there isn't enough to talk about, then we won't, but, okay, so right now I have Caitlin, I have the dam, and then I have like generic updates on all our various projects for the rest of the time. And we try to keep it to 7:30 as close as we can. July 10th would be the next meeting. And then August 14th is the next one after that. And by the time we get to September, we're usually back in the flow, but often that July and August can be hard for folks. June we'll do in person with a Zoom option like normal. July, we canceled July and August as like a planned hiatus last year because some people were traveling. I'm open to that. I think most years we do an August hiatus, but we didn't used to have Zoom. So could we do only Zoom meetings for July and August? What are our thoughts? What are people doing? You know,
in
it is
August-
public. You don't want to say your whole itinerary when you're not in your house, but
Well,
you know,
yeah.
if you want to just throw out some ideas of what we might envision for those meetings, because we
In
have
August,
canceled.
Alex and I will be without internet in August for the August.
Okay. How many people think they could probably attend a meeting on Zoom in August 14th?
I can do all
Anyone?
those person or Zoom.
You could do all those on Zoom, okay. Anyone else?
Mhm.
You could probably do those on Zoom, probably on
Yeah.
Zoom. Okay, because we could just host Zoom only on those 2 months and we'll just advertise it as such. Just because it could be hard to do if, you know, it's hard to get everyone together in summer. How do you feel about that? I think we wouldn't have a physical location. I don't know, maybe we can't vote on things. I don't know how that would work exactly. I could look at open meeting laws or see what other commissions are doing. With that, but how do we feel about that? We could also just do a hiatus. But I think it'd be nice if we could just pull off Zoom meetings to those two. At least a quick Zoom.
I'd
What do you
rather
think
meet
over
than
that?
not.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
July. We just can't do August, but we're only 2 people, so.
Yeah, totally.
How
Okay,
about
well,
we
then
make a decision on the July meeting that we determine whether there's a significant amount of things to consider for an August meeting? And if not, we'll postpone and go to September.
Okay, so how about this? Let's tentative make July and August Zoom only. And then we'll decide the month ahead, should we have a meeting at all, are people around or available that night? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so Zoom only with the option to have a hiatus. Okay. Option to cancel. Beautiful. And then by the time we get to September, usually everyone's settled into their fall routine and is sort of back. Okay, that sounds great then. So we'll do June, sort of our normal, in the conference meeting room with a Zoom option. July 10th, August 14th, Zoom only,
And what's the date in June?
the 12th.
Okay.
And we
So
have
I have that
Caitlin Cusack
small
talk about
engine.
bears. Caitlin wants to talk about bears here. She handed out, oh boy, can I do this? These handouts were at the grant day table, as well as these pamphlets. And oh, who does she work with? I forgot. Thank you, Vermont Land Trust. And she emailed me and said they've seen a serious uptick in black bears in Bristol and is concerned about it. And wants to talk to us about bears and what we can do about it. And that she's seen a real, like, shocking increase just in Bristol. That's all I know. And that she's was gonna come tonight, couldn't make it, is gonna come in June instead. So we can talk to the commission about the emerging black bear issue.
Cool.
That's pretty interesting. Okay, and that is all I have listed. Events, we've already talked about the Seth Hill, May 22nd at 5 o'clock. And then we'll have, we'll do some emailing to figure out some other park walks.
Okay.
Okay. And then our next meeting is June 12th. All right, would anyone like to make a
I
motion?
think, oh, no, wait. No,
Oh, no, Zayla, what's up?
never mind. It's June 12th.
That-
I was looking
Okay,
at
okay,
July.
that's fine. Better check. No, I hate to do it wrong. Okay, does anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn. You want to second that motion?
Second.
The motion, all those in favor of adjourning? The
I,
motion is passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Cool.
See you on June 12th.
And then
Bye-bye.
May 22nd is for meeting
Yes.
then as well.
Yeah, cool.